Hi, you guys. So we're going to do Real Housewives of Orange County gossip dump. Just a quick shout out. I did a live with Kim D. We covered a lot of ground. The new girl on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Amanda Francis. Oh, like the beginning of what I think is going to be her scandals. Kim had heard some news about Mauricio Umansky coming out of New York. We discussed Denise Richard. We talked about the best theories regarding why Brian Kohberger did the Idaho murders. We discussed New Jersey. I got some really good tea on that, and Kim seemed to agree with the tea I got. And we disagreed about Erica Jane Girardi and got in a fight over her. And I tried to give everybody the cliff notes on the legal she's facing currently. So you got to go watch that live. It's in the live tab on my YouTube channel. Now let's get into Real Housewives of Orange County. So first and foremost, somebody started spreading rumors that Heather Dubrow was leaving Real Housewives of Orange County after this season. And this was gossip. And I think the way Heather addressed it was she kind of thinks maybe a cast member might have leaked this intel out there to try to give it legs. So the fans would say, oh, yay, Heather's leaving, or boo, Heather's leaving, whatever. But definitely she is not leaving. She is not leaving OC, and she is not joining the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills either. So Heather is mainly living in Los Angeles, not Orange County, just so you guys know. She's pretty open about it at this point. But Terry Dubrow still has his operation out of Orange County, and obviously Bravo doesn't care that they don't live there, even though she's on Real Housewives of Orange County. You see the kid next to Heather, that's Nick Dubrow. They are developing a show called Next Gen LA, and Nick is trying to get on that show right now. I'm not sure who the anchor character is going to be. Maybe it's going to be him. I don't know. But they are doing a Next Gen for Los Angeles, and Nick is going to be, I think, a cast member of it. It's been more than teased, so I'd say you can bank on that. So Heather Dubrow said that Nick works in the hospitality industry now. Maybe you remember he worked for the Altman Group in real estate. It might surprise you to know that Nick worked as a production assistant for 3 or 4 months for Bravo. For the actual network. Is that breaking the fourth wall, I wonder? Anyway, he's now in hospitality, probably working for one of the cooler clubs or hotels that have crossover like SLS. Sam Nazarian's SLS. Hi, Sam. Meanwhile, Tamra Judge spilled tea to Page 6 that this is the darkest Real Housewives of Orange County finale ever. There's never been darker. People will be crying and bad things will be said and all sorts of things. But anyway, I kind of believe her because I feel like Tamra probably made it that way because we know she's manipulating the storyline. So Heather did give us one hint. Guess what it was? That the end, the dark part, is like its own show altogether. It's something that comes out of nowhere and then it hits and it's dark and no one expected it. And the big question is, who brought this thing up and why? So how did you guys feel about this? The Bravo babe, aka Christina Huber, spoke to OK Magazine, and it was eye-opening. In the interview, the blogger shared that Katie had in fact called her. Christina noted Katie did in fact call me to tell me Tamra Judge was evil, and if I needed any help or guidance, she was there for me. Furthermore, the Bravo blogger showed DMs that proved Katie initiated the call at 6:20 p.m. The blogger added, we discussed this already, but I thought I'd mention the evil part. She didn't really get into that part. I never showed anyone or told anyone that she also tried to bring in someone close to Tamra to the show. So first of all, who do you guys think she was going to bring in to the show that Bravo Babe mentions? And do you think that it is a bad strategy for Katie Ginella to reach out to Bravo Babe to give her information against Tamra Judge? Or is this just the way it goes in today's housewife land? Let me know in the comments below. Jennifer Pedrani still owes $160,000 to a landlord. She made one payment of $25,000, but blew off all the other payments. So now the landlord's looking for a judgment against her, and then I guess he'll file a lien on her paycheck. We'll see what happens with that, but she's, that's just a matter of time. Tick, tick, tick. Jennifer Pedrani also dropped text messages that she had with Gretchen Rossi. So Jennifer Pedrani was just trying to set the record straight that she reached out to Gretchen for support. And then Gretchen just said, sure, let me know if you need anything anytime. And Tamra was like, well, that wasn't the way that you made it sound on the show, so you're a liar. All right, let's get into the recap. So we open up and Shannon Beador and Katie Ginella are fighting because Katie Ginella recorded Shannon Beador having a breakdown during one of the promo things, and she recorded it allegedly for her husband to hear it because she couldn't make a meeting or something, but it was kind of bullshit. What she was really trying to do was get the recording and share it with Alexis Bellino because they had an existing lawsuit with Shannon Beador, and I guess Katie was closer with Alexis than she was with Shannon at this time. Doesn't surprise me. I don't think really Shannon's very close with any of the women when the show wasn't shooting, and potentially Alexis and Katie had like a real friendship that went on outside the show. So that happens. And then we see a scene where Tamra says that with any minute Ryan Boyajian's ready to sue her if she says anything about Ryan. And so she's kind of upset about that, but she knows how to, avoid it or whatever. So she's going to be okay. But meanwhile, Heather Dubrow is having a birthday party in February because people are not wanting to party after New Year's. So she doesn't know how to handle the fact that Tamra Judge, Ryan Boyajian, and Jennifer Pedrani are in like almost a legal fight at the moment. And how does she have them at the party? Tamra was worried about this. So Heather Dubrow disclosed that Tamra Judge thought that the birthday was going to be a dinner just with a few people, not a full-blown party. So Tamra probably wouldn't have cared if Ryan had been there in a big party had she known that. But the producers didn't tell Tamra that. They only said like Heather was having a gathering. So Tamra actually was making a deal out of that only because she thought it was going to be a smaller thing. And it wasn't. It was going to be a big thing. Anyway, Jennifer Pedrani gets super triggered when Heather asks her not to bring Ryan. And she's like, do you know what Tamra Judge did to me? I had to prove to my ex that I have a safe house and I almost lost custody of my kids and all this stuff. And, it was totally unfair. Nothing ever came of it. And she starts to almost cry. And why do you lower yourself hanging out with Tamra? Well, simultaneously, Heather's asking her the same question about her hanging out with Katie Ginella for all the things that Katie Ginella has orchestrated behind the scenes to hurt the women. Some of Katie's things haven't been that big a deal, but, recording someone is really wrong. So Heather decides to just allow everybody to come and see what happens. So then Katie has a whole scene where she has her son show up on the show and her teenage daughter is gone. And I noticed she wasn't in the credits either, which they dropped tonight. Anyway, so the son is like, I'm going to live here now. But she's like, I don't see him that much because he's busy. But this is a big moment for her because she has her kids' custody all over the place. And so now she's finally feeling like she's going to have the kids all together, and it's created a lot of difficult dynamics for the kids. So, we feel bad for Katie. She says, look, I did this because it was the best thing for them to decide where they wanted to be for numerous reasons. They all made sense. But the big question is, and I hate to be a Debbie Downer, was it worth cheating if that's what you did? Because supposedly that's what your husband said you did, which is why the family fell apart. I say this only because maybe think twice before you cheat, because you're going to cause damage to your family for, what did she say, like on the show tonight, like 8 years trying to get her kids all together again. Yeah. Well, let's hope that the ex-husband was lying. So then we watch Shannon Beador go on a date with Adam from Love Hotel. He's bowling with Emily and Gina, and they're grilling him to make sure he's not another John Jansen. And so just in case you didn't remember Adam or you didn't watch Love Hotel, Adam is a 54-year-old entrepreneur from Belmont Shores, California. Originally from South Africa, the cultured Love Hotel guest lived in the UK and studied at Oxford toward his MBA, Masters of Business Administration, in case you didn't know. Jeez, Bravo thinks we're dumbasses. He also attended film school and had a chance to work in Italy. I don't know why the hell they threw that in there, but they did. Anyway, Shannon's on a date with him, and it looks like he's doing okay, although I'm pretty sure she just stays friends with all the guys on Love Hotel. So then we see Jennifer Pedrani, and we understand how awful her ex-husband is. All the kids are pretty much living with her. Ryan's taking care of them. The husband isn't paying all of the things that was promised to Jennifer Pedrani. He's still probably pissed that she cheated on him. But, still, like, he has an obligation for his children either way. And then we find out her son is going into the Marines, and he didn't really talk to her too much about it, and the dad might have influenced him in that direction. Then the dad asked the son to co-sign on another of the son's loans for USC, and now the kid's on the hook if the dad can't pay it and the other kid can't pay it, and it affects his credit. Ryan pointed that out. He's not wrong. So we're just like, what is wrong with this ex-husband she has? Oh, God. Anyway, so there's that. But they have to be careful, obviously, because the ex-husband and her are constantly in court. So I'm sure they'll be in court, as soon as this episode airs. And then we see a scene where Tamra's talking about her work and how sad she's been about Teddy Mellencamp cancer. And she hopes it's going to be okay, but she doesn't know. And that's it. Sadly, Teddy Mellencamp made a little bit of a negative update today. She said that she was feeling very sick, couldn't even get out of bed. That's how bad she was feeling from the immunotherapy. The immunotherapy is working, it's shrinking her tumors, but it's taken a huge toll on her body, and it's just her body is worn out. So they want to take a break on the immunotherapy, treat her with steroids, and then they'll start up on it again. But very difficult for her, and she's frustrated because she wants to do so many things and she doesn't feel good, and then she can't spend time with her family properly. And always in the back of her mind is like, am I spending moments in the best way I can? And it's very challenging. My prayers are with her. So then we see Shannon Beador walk in with her date from Love Hotel, another one, Phillip. And Phillip was actually someone the women thought was a good catch. Both Giselle and Luann were interested in Phillip because he had money. Like drives, I think, a Bentley or something, lives in Bel Air or something. Anyway, that comes out on the show. So everybody's ears peaked up and he became kind of a good catch, but none of the women really jived with him too much. Like they really tried, but it didn't happen. But anyway, Shannon stayed friends with him, I guess, and he accompanies her as her date at Heather's birthday. Heather's birthday looks very over the top. It seemingly cost about $130,000. And everybody was like, whoa, wow. So she must have really brought it for this event. They've got millions, so they don't really care. And I guess she's trying to make good TV, which is good. We appreciate it. Anyway, Shannon gets there and Katie's like, oh my gosh. And I was thinking to myself, gee, I was more worried about Tamra and Ryan Boyajian than I was, Shannon and Katie. But here we find ourselves. So it's pretty clear Tamra's not going to show. And again, we know why, because the producers made her think that it was going to be a more intimate event than it was. She missed a great party. Looked like an awesome party. Anyway, but so now we got to focus on Katie for the drama. We'll see what happens with Shannon. But in between, we find out that Slade's dick got broken by Gretchen because she was riding him too hard somehow. And now he can't feel in the middle of his, what. Wow. what a price to pay. Just saying. I don't know if I'd get over that if I was him. And Tamra has been trying to kind of champion for Michelle against Gretchen. I think she even asked Gretchen to help with Grayson's GoFundMe page, which I think was a good idea. So then there's a moment where Shannon and Katie are fighting, and it's the end. And, Shannon's like, it's illegal. You can't record me. And Katie's like, I'm sorry, but. But the thing is that Katie lies. She says she never played the recording for Alexis, and she did, and everybody knows she did. So she outright lies, and she lies on TV, and she lies to Shannon, and Shannon knows she lies because they've established it already. But also in Gossip Land, we know she did play it for Alexis. So yeah, Katie is just a liar. I don't know what to say. She's lying a lot for a show like this. All right, guys, that's a wrap. A lot of content today. I'm pooped.